Hey, I am Bruce and I am 28 years old. I am a senior copywriter at an advertising agency. We cook up and roll out advertising campaigns for businesses. And let me tell you, we're one of the biggest advertising agencies in the state. We have clients all over the world. 4 years ago, I started off as an intern at the agency right after my MBA. I loved the work, the people, and especially the grind people put into design creative and clever advertising campaigns. After around 3 months of interning at the agency, I got a job offer from HR to be a full-time employee. I love the job. It's one of those jobs that allow you to let your creative juices flow and create something that gathers people's attention. It's similar to making movies, except we design campaigns. Everything has been great, but I did have one massive roadblock: my coworker, Alan. Alan was the kind of guy who was always ready to rain on your parade. Sounds like an envious man? You bet. The guy was jealous of everyone doing better than him. He always thought everybody loved him when the truth was quite the opposite. Everyone in our office hated him. He joined the company 3 years before me, and because of my MBA, I skipped the entry-level gigs and got a spot right beside him in the company hierarchy. I still remember the first time I met him. The moment I met him, he got all sarcastic and started making sly comments. I knew that Alan was not the kind of guy I'd hang out with. My boss, Denise, introduced me to Alan, and the moment she told him that I would be working parallel to him, it hurt his ego hard. He started acting all sly and snarky. "Bruce, this is Alan. Alan, this is Bruce. Alan is also a copywriter here. He's been with us for 3 years now. It's good to meet you, Alan." "Likewise. And Bruce here will be working alongside you on different projects. He joined us 3 months ago as an intern, and now he'll be working as a full-time employee." "Oh, right. You're the intern someone told me about. I was thinking why you look so familiar. You're a fresher, and you've studied business administration, right?" "That's right." "Well, Denise, don't you think he is a little out of place? You can't just offer him a job like mine just because he has an MBA degree." "Well, he has been learning and shadowing everything we've been doing for the last 3 months. He's familiar with the craft. Plus, he has an MBA from one of the top business schools in our country. I think he'll be able to handle everything just fine." "Oh, these MBA guys just get on my nerves. I've been working here for 3 years. I worked in a different agency for 4 years before I joined here, and I worked my way up to this position. And here he comes, the MBA prodigy with no prior experience at all, and yet he gets to work at this level." "I am sorry, did I do something to piss you off, Alan?" "Yes, you standing here when someone else who is far more talented than you should get the job is pissing me off. You're just a privileged brat who thinks he's better than everyone. I am just pissed that someone like you gets to work here just because you went to a good college." "Well, then maybe you should learn how to get along with people. Would take you places if you learned to do so." "You have a big mouth, I give you that. Better to have a big mouth than a big ego. Look at this guy here. He has just joined and he thinks he can talk to me like this. Listen, kid, this isn't your college. This is the real deal. You better learn where you stand or you'll get crushed. It took me an MBA and 3 months of internship to get here. It took you 7 years. I think you're the one getting crushed here, old man." "Wow. You really know how to get on people's bad side, don't you? Well, I am sure you'll regret it." "We'll see." "Well, you two seem to get along very well. Just try not to kill each other. Looking at your great chemistry, I guess I'll try not putting you together to work on the same project." "That'd be great. Works for me." "All right then, Alan, you can continue doing what you were doing, and Bruce, I need you to meet a few more people before you start working here. You'll be working with them." "Sure. See you around, Bruce." The moment I met Alan, I knew he and I would never ever be friends. I didn't join the agency to make enemies, but if Alan wanted to play games, I had no intention of backing down. Bruce had a cunning face. You could tell by his face that he was one cunning lad. I knew from the beginning that he'd be a trouble. Denise took me to meet members of the other teams, and everyone was kind and welcoming. Watching everybody greet me so well made me think that this was definitely not a place for someone like Alan. Denise took me to different floors of the office building and introduced me to the media team, the account team, the strategy team, and everyone. I had worked with some of them when I was an intern, and they were happy that I was successfully able to turn the internship into a full-time job. After I met everyone, I went to the break area to get myself a cup of coffee. I made some coffee and sat on the couch. After about 10 or 15 minutes, I saw Amber coming in, banging her foot on the floor. I could tell by her face that she was mad. Amber was another intern who had joined the agency with me. We met 3 months ago and we became good friends. She had a diploma in media and communications. Amber and I were of the same age, so we got along very well. She came in clenching her fists, murmuring something, and sat right beside me. I asked her why she was mad and she told me what Alan had done. Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I feel like punching that arrogant prick right in the face. Wow. Calm down, gladiator. You don't need to be so aggressive. What happened? That Alan guy needs to learn some manners. You too. What? Alan and I got off on the wrong foot too. Who does he think he is? He sounds so arrogant and narcissistic. I feel like throwing him down and choking him with my arms until his face turns purple. I sometimes forget that you used to wrestle in school. Remind me of this if we ever get into a fight. But in the case of Alan, I'd pay to watch him get choked by you. That guy pissed me off, big time. What did he do? Denise introduced me to him and he was just too egotistical to be nice. He thinks people like me don't deserve to be here. He told me that he had been working in the agency for 3 years and that he knew I was good for nothing. He also told me that I was a waste of the agency's money. And what did you do? I didn't do anything. What could I have done? It's my first day here. I don't want to start off on the wrong foot with anyone in the agency. What did he do to you? Pretty much the same thing. But I didn't back down. He wants to have a war. I'll be the first one to draw the sword. What did you do? I pretty much told him that he should learn to get along with people. I also told him that it took me less than 3 years to get here, whereas he had to work for 7 years to get here. What? Did you say that to his face? I sure did. Denise was also there. Did she say something? No, she just smiled. You're crazy. We're not interns anymore and we don't work under Alan. We work alongside him. He has no authority over us. In fact, Denise told me that he and I wouldn't even be working together on a project. He's just a guy who is pissed at life. We don't need to be scared of someone like him. And the way he behaves, I am pretty sure no one else in the agency likes him either. He's a nobody. I guess you're right. Plus, if you let people treat you this way, they'll never stop bullying you. You should let them know that they're not bullying their way through you. You need to be mindful of that, Amber. You're right. I won't let Alan ridicule me the next time. Good soldier. Amber was the only good friend that I cared about at that time, and I didn't want Alan to bully her. I wanted her to take a stand against that narcissistic man, especially when he had no authority over us. We both hated him so much. It was the first time we had met him, and he had already managed to make us hate him. It takes a special guy to piss 2 people off together. A couple of weeks went by fine. Amber and I used to work in different teams, and we tried to avoid Alan as much as we could. One day, while I was working on a project, I heard people screaming in the break room. I went there to check out what was happening, only to find Amber and Alan fighting over something. I went up to them to break up the fight, but Alan, being Alan, managed to piss me off as well. All 3 of us had quite a fight. Everybody gathered around the break room to watch us. It was only when Denise came and pacified the situation. But we made quite a scene that day. The moment I entered the break room, Alan was screaming out his lungs, yelling at Amber, saying mean things to her. You're useless. You, good for nothing, piece of trash. Look at yourself, Alan. You act like you're the boss when you're not even a manager yet. You've been working here for 3 years and they didn't promote you to a managerial position? I guess Denise saw how narcissistic you can be. You're one to talk. You don't even deserve to be here in the first place. I've seen people 10-fold more talented than you, and yet you get to work here because of your lousy diploma. Anyone can buy it nowadays. I'm pretty sure you bought yours too. How dare you say something like that? Hey guys, chill. Everybody's watching you. Oh, here comes another one. The golden boy. Get out of here. You have no business here. Listen, I am only here to pacify the heated argument you two are having. Who do you think you are? You can't just come here and tell me to chill out. I'll do what I feel like doing. Could you behave for a minute? I don't know what's going on, but fighting will only make things worse. Alan needs to watch how he speaks to me. I was just making a cup of coffee for myself when he came and told me to get back to work. He isn't my boss, and he needs to mind his own business. I've put my blood and sweat to see this agency thrive, and I don't want a bunch of wannabes like you to ruin everything. Be careful with your words, Alan, or what? Do you want to take this outside? I could if you want me to. It's high time that someone taught you how to treat other people respectfully. I'd love to teach you that. Well then, come on, tough guy. What are you waiting for? Hey, stop it. All three of you. We don't want any trouble here. Teach these kids how to behave or else I will. That's enough, Alan. Finish your coffee and come meet me at my cabin. All three of you. Denise left and I followed her to her cabin, and so did Amber. Alan's ego was too big to follow Denise's instructions right away. He came after about 15 minutes. We told everything to Denise about how Alan had been trying to bully us and how he had been constantly telling us that we didn't deserve to be in the agency. Alan, on the other hand, tried to justify his stance by pointing out how we were too inexperienced to work on the projects we were working on. Denise listened to each one of us and said nothing. When all three of us went silent, Denise told us to go back to our respective places and continue working. After a while, Denise came out of her cabin to tell us that she was sending Alan to a different floor. I looked at Alan and Alan was pissed to hear this. He would have to shift to a different floor because of us. Amber and I were overjoyed to hear this. We won't have to see Alan's face anymore. This made our relationship with Alan more fierce. But we didn't care. We knew he couldn't do anything about it. Amber and I had won the battle that day. It had been 6 months since we had joined the agency and everything was going smoothly. Alan was sent to a different floor and we hardly ever saw him. In these 6 months, we discovered that Alan had a blowout with most of the people in the agency. And nobody liked him. They were glad that he was sent to a different floor. During these 6 months, Alan had many more fights with the people on his floor. We never understood why Denise never fired him. I guess Denise just had a soft corner for him or something. One weekend, as a part of the team building exercise, Denise decided to take all of us for a camping night in a lake that was just on the outskirts of the city. Alan, Amber, me, and other people of the agency tagged along. I was quite excited about the camping. After all, it was my first trip with my coworkers. Everyone gathered in the office at 8 in the morning on a Saturday to go camping. Denise had arranged a bus to take us to the location. It was about 30 miles from the heart of the city, where our office was. It took us 1 hour to get to the location. We reached the location and it was beautiful. There was a huge lake and it was surrounded by pine trees. Denise told us that her father used to take her and the other kids in her neighborhood to camp there and the place was special for her. We set up our camp near the lake and we went sightseeing. Everybody formed teams and went to different locations to explore and find firewood. I teamed up with some of my other friends and Amber. We went to fetch wood for the fire. A couple of hours later, we saw another team coming up to us, and Alan was with them. Both of the teams decided that we would find firewood together. There were around 14 of us. After a while, Alan came up to us. "Hey kids, missed me? Oh, here he comes to make the day better. I see you're still running your big mouth. You should learn how to respect your seniors. And you should learn how to treat people like people and not slaves. He's not worth our time, Bruce. Let's just go. Oh, I forgot. You're also here. I see you've brought your bodyguard with you, Bruce. Please leave, Alan. We don't want any trouble. Too late. You're already on Santa's naughty list. You better watch your back. I am coming for you." What's that supposed to mean? You're threatening us. Just warning you. We're in the woods. And anything could happen. You're such a creep, Alan. Let's just leave, Bruce. Bye, kiddos. See you around. Very soon. And then we left. The things he said and the way he said it creeped me out. I could see a devious plan forming in his eyes. He had something in his mind and I knew it wasn't going to be good for me or Amber. We had to watch our backs. Alan had a grudge and he could do anything to settle the score. Amber was scared and so was I, to be honest, and we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to go talk to Denise about it because she already had a lot on her plate. She had to take care of everyone. A couple of hours went by and nothing happened. We were starting to think that Alan had just made empty threats to ruin our camping experience. We set up our tents and Denise taught us how to light a fire using some stones, wood, and a bamboo shoot. She was an expert at all of these things. We cooked our dinner, we had beers, and one of the coworkers had brought a guitar. We sang songs and we enjoyed ourselves. After we had our dinner, we sat around the bonfire and talked for a while. Alan suggested that we share ghost stories. Nobody liked the idea, but he, anyway, went ahead to share some paranormal instances he had experienced in the woods when he was a kid. We all knew he was making up these stories, but he still managed to establish a spooky kind of environment in the campsite. After a while, all of us went to our tents to sleep. As soon as everyone went to their tents, we heard a loud scream. We all came out of our tents to see what was going on. It was Denise who was screaming. She told us that her sleeping bag was full of insects. I went inside her tent to check it out, and there were ants, beetles, spiders, termites, and other insects in her sleeping bag. I took the sleeping bag out of the tent and threw it aside. Everyone saw all of these insects come out of the bag. Denise saw these insects crawling out and knew that someone had intentionally put all of these insects in her sleeping bag. She told us that it was highly unlikely that we found all these different insects together in one place. One of the co-workers who was in Alan's team when we were fetching firewood told us that Alan was collecting these insects in a jar. It must be him who put these insects in Denise's sleeping bag. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at Alan and Denise got furious. "Did you do this, Alan?" "No, I didn't do anything. Why would I?" "Don't lie, Alan. Your co-workers saw you collecting these insects in a jar when we went to fetch firewood." "I like collecting insects. It's one of my hobbies. It still doesn't mean that I was the one who put them in your sleeping bag." "Where's the jar then?" "What jar?" "The jar you were collecting insects in. Show me the jar. If you're telling the truth, the insects you collected should be in the jar then. Show it to me, and I'll believe everything that you're saying." "The jar, I threw it away." "What do you mean you threw it away?" "I just threw it away." "So you're telling me that you collected all these insects in a jar all day long just to throw it away? How dumb do you think I am?" "Denise, I saw Alan getting into your tent when all of us were having dinner. I went to my tent to get my medicines, and there I saw Alan going into your tent. It must be him who did all of this." "Shut up. It was meant for you and..." "What? What did you just say?" "Nothing. I said nothing." "You just said it was meant for Amber." "No, I was just saying I was just..." "You're a sick man, Alan. I should have fired you long ago." "No, Denise. Please don't fire me. I only did it because I thought it was Amber and Bruce's tent." "You wanted to put these creepy crawlies in Amber and Bruce's tent? What's wrong with you? Why would you do something like that?" "You know exactly why. Ever since they joined the agency, they've done nothing but trouble me. They don't deserve to work here. You should fire them instead of firing me. I gave more than 3 years of my life to the agency." "You can't just fire me like that." "Actually, I can, and I am firing you." "Denise, please don't. I beg you. Please don't fire me. I need this job. You know how much I need it." "That's it, Alan. You just crossed the line, and now you'll have to pay for it. You're fired." "Denise, you can't do this." "You're fired, Alan, and that's it. You can spend the night with us, but tomorrow you'll have to find a way to go back home on your own. You're not going with us. And I'll tell someone to pack all your stuff in the office, and you can come and collect it from the office. After that, I never want to see your face ever again. Denise, please. Enough. Not another word, or I'll throw you out of the campsite. You can spend the night with your insects out there in the woods." Alan didn't dare utter another word. Denise was furious, and we could see that she was not in the mood to forgive Alan. I could see the rage in her eyes. All of us saw Alan going back to his tent quietly. And after a while, we all went back to our tents. Amber and I decided not to sleep the whole night. We just couldn't trust Alan. He could have something else up in his sleeve, and we needed to look out for each other. Fortunately, nothing happened. The next day, Denise told Alan to pack all of his stuff and find his way home. He came with us till the point where the bus was parked, and all of the other people got on the bus and went to the city, except him. Denise wasn't ready to have that man on board with all of us. Denise was mad at him, big time. The bus dropped us off at the office. Our cars were parked in the parking lot. We took our cars and drove ourselves home. The next day, we came to the office and we found Alan sitting in Denise's cabin. Denise went inside the cabin and they talked for a while. After about half an hour, Alan came out of the cabin and came up to me and Amber. He told us to come meet him in the break area. He wanted to discuss something important. We were confused. Why did Alan want to talk to us after getting fired? We should be the last people he would want to meet during his last few moments in the agency. We thought about it for a while, but we couldn't make sense of it. So we decided that we would go meet him. We went to the break area and we were shocked to see that Alan had made coffee for both of us. We took the coffee and we sat on the couch. As soon as we sat on the couch, Alan started apologizing. Guys, I know we've never been able to get along very well, but I want to apologize for everything I've done to you. It was foolish of me to say mean things to you. What in the world has gotten in you? Are you apologizing? To us? I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. I've realized that I've been very mean to both of you ever since you guys joined the agency, and I am extremely sorry for it. I don't believe you. There's something you're not telling us. You're hiding something, aren't you? What is it? I am neither trying to hide something nor deceive you. I am just sorry for my actions. I know I've caused both of you a lot of trouble, and all I am asking for is your forgiveness. We know you, Alan. Never in a million years would you apologize to us. You've hated us ever since we first met. And you tried to put insects on our sleeping bags. What kind of sick man are you? I can understand if you're upset. Upset? We're furious and we won't ever forgive you. Just listen to me. Alan, you better come clean or we're leaving. I don't want to waste time playing your sick games. All right, I'll come clean. You know Denise has fired me. I went to her cabin and I tried to save my job. She told me that I should apologize to both of you since I wanted to put those insects in your sleeping bags. She said it's only fair that you both decide if I should stay in the agency or not. Please, guys, I need this job. Oh, that's what up. You're not apologizing to us because you regret everything. You're doing this to save your job. You're a prick, you know that, right? I know what this looks like, but please, I need this job. It's in your hands now. And I do feel regretful about everything I've done to you. I apologize for everything. I beg you to forgive me and tell Denise not to fire me. That's it. I am done here. I am leaving. I'll never forgive you, Alan. Wait, Amber. Wait, please. She's gone, Alan. And there's nothing you can do to convince her to forgive you. But you can. Bruce, you're the only one who can save me now. I beg you, please, let me stay in the agency. You know what, Alan? I love seeing you apologizing to us, and I do feel pity for you. But you've made your bed, and now you'll have to sleep on it. Bruce, please don't. You've always told me and Amber that we didn't deserve to be here. Well, guess what? We think the same about you. And you were always at war with us. Well, you got it. Sucks to be on the losing side, doesn't it? Bruce, forgive me. I'll never. Well, I got work to do and you need to pack up your things. It feels so good to see a narcissistic man like you begging for forgiveness. It's high time that you learn how to treat people with respect. I had a really great time with you and I hope I never get to see your face ever again. Take care, Alan. Wait, Bruce. Toodles, buddy. It felt so good to see Alan begging for forgiveness. He got what he deserved. Amber and I were in no mood to forgive him, especially after all the wrongs he had done to us for no reason. After a while, Alan went inside Denise's cabin again, and I heard Denise yelling at him. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I guess Alan was trying his last hand at convincing Denise not to fire him. After a while, Denise called the security, and the security took away Alan. Alan was crying and screaming on his way out. And everyone present on the floor clapped, looking at the sight of Alan being dragged out of the office. Everyone was so pissed at Alan, and everybody was happy that he was finally getting fired. It felt so good to see security dragging out Alan. I looked at Amber, and she was already looking at me. We gave each other a wicked smile. We knew we had won the war. It's been 6 months since Alan got fired. I've no idea where he is. He came and tried to meet Denise a few more times, but it was futile. Denise had already made up her mind, and she wasn't going to change it. Some of my coworkers told me that Alan had vacated the apartment he was living in, and rumors come in that he has left the city for good. I hope all of this has taught him to treat other people respectfully. My life has been much better after Alan got fired, and so has been the case with everyone else in the agency. Alan was a nuisance to everyone. I guess all of this is enough to make Alan understand that people like me and Amber made it to the agency because of our talent and conviction, and not just because of our education. I hope he sees this as a learning experience and uses it to make himself a better human being. But I have to say this, it feels quite delightful to watch a bully finally get what he deserves.